All right. Valerie Smith here. I am a TCM Women's Wellness Mentor. I focus on supporting women, mentoring women through midlife and looking through the lens of traditional Chinese medicine to really craft and understand their unique life and create an adventure, help them rediscovering their authentic, fierce, weird, wonderful selves. So I was inspired. The subject matter has bowing to the credential gods become pervasive in your life was inspired by a post I saw on social media. And essentially, it was someone saying, they were in college and they had a 2.4 GPA and thought that they would never amount to anything. And now they're, I don't know, I think they're working for NASA on rocket ships or something. So it really drove home how this beliefs about ourselves that are driven by external modeling, external beliefs that may not resonate with us is incredibly pervasive. My first really aha moment in this category, in this topic, was when I was in college, and I had taken an American history class. I majored in history and hotel restaurant, but that's another story for another day. um, I had taken an American history class, and I think I got a D on it, and I was horrified. And I took it again with a different teacher who was much more interactive and loved the material, and I got an A on it. And so that was my first aha moment of maybe I'm not stupid. Maybe I just need to be passionate about what I'm learning, about connecting it to what I'm interested in. And certainly we can't do that with everything, but the big things in life, that's really important, right? And my second aha moment was while I was studying acupuncture. And it's incredibly, any of you who have gone back to school um, after you graduate or have gone back to school later in life, it's an incredibly humbling experience. You're fully in control of your life, you do what you want to do, and then suddenly everything is very regimented, and you have barometers, you have um, markers of improvement that you need to meet. You have a feeling that if I don't get an A, I'm not smart enough. I don't belong here. There's so much stress around this. And this may not resonate with everyone classroom wise, but I think we all have areas in our life where we have these preconceived notions of where we should be, what we should be doing, how our life should look, what grades we're getting, that are really not grounded in our sense of reality. It's another reality that we're trying to align with and achieve. And so I had a class while I was in acupuncture school, and the instructor came in, and it might have been a week that we had a lot of testing done. And so people were a little demoralized because it was challenging. And he talked about bowing to the credential god. And he said, all of this stuff is bowing to the credential god. I need to complete so many courses in a certain way in order to get my degree. I need to demonstrate certain level of competence in order to get my license. This is acupuncture. I need to take a national exam in order to get my license. Um, these are all credentials that we need to complete, we need to achieve in order to, in my case, become an acupuncturist and do what I love. But the really important takeaway that day is that these are simply measurements that we check off in order to receive license or graduation or whatever it is. they don't, they're not markers of how smart we are. Some people test really well. Some people test poorly. The person who tests really well may not actually have the level of critical thinking skills needed that the person who, may not have tested very well, but they have they can put the material together in a way to understand it and apply it, where the other person may be able to repeat what's in the book. And that's really important. But it also made me think, as a teacher now of acupuncture for over 20 years, I see this over and over and over, is students who are very accomplished in their life, and they get a C, and it's incredibly demoralizing, and they think they should leave. I don't rate being here. I'm getting a C. Well, if I go over the material with them, they really know the material. They're just not testing well. It's not, tests are not an evaluation of intelligence. They're just a test to say you can spit out the material and move forward. Okay? And we've become such a culture of these kind of, I'm going to call them credentials that we're often trying to achieve, that it can become pervasive in our own lives. Our personal credential gods, labels that we have worn that may have served us at some point. The mediator. I'm the mediator. I'm great, because when I was younger, when my family was at odds, they would come to me and I would be the mediator. Now it's 20, 30 years later. Maybe that's the type of work I do. Does it resonate with me anymore, though? Or is it that credential card? Is that label I set up to describe myself, and I'm trying to achieve greater influence or greater respect in this area, but it's not really who I am or want to be anymore? How are we setting ourselves up to be inauthentic in our lives, right? And part of that is that we take on roles that we may need to at some point in our life, and then we have a title or a label related to that, but it doesn't resonate with us. And at the same time, it's hard to let it go. We'll go back to mediator. It's hard to let it go because that's who I've become, the mediator. Maybe I hate doing that. Maybe I'm much more interested in doing my taxes and helping people with taxes, but I don't do that because that's not who I am. My title, my role is mediator. It's not fun anymore. It's not even the least bit interesting. What I really want to do is accounting. I want to help people become empowered with their numbers. But if this is my role, maybe I can't do that. Maybe I shouldn't do that. We get caught up in external expectations of ourselves. We get caught up in what we think we should be doing at a particular time in our life, at a particular age, at a particular juncture. What should I be doing when I turn 30? I should be either settled down, I should have a good job. I went back to acupuncture school when I was 30, and I got some flack for that from some colleagues at the time, because what are you doing? You're starting something entirely new. This is your career track. You're going off your career track. My career track was sucking the life out of me. And I had to acknowledge that in order to move into something that may not have made sense to people at the time, but was a passion of mine. So it's really important that we look We regularly look at what are my goals. I don't mean I have rigid goals written out and what are they? I mean, what are your general goals? Where do you see yourself outside of where other people think you should be? If you're working in corporate, do you really see yourself creating an organic farm and being happy tilling the fields and being out in the outdoors? But you're feeling like, no, I got to keep going. I got to keep going in my corporate job because it pays my retirement, it pays my health insurance. It doesn't really matter if I'm happy right now or I'm feeling I'm moving in an authentic direction right now because it's going to serve me later on. What about right now, right? So if you feel like you're constantly serving others, either in your behavior or the labels you carry that determine how you interact with people, such as mediator or problem solver, um, it doesn't mean you can't have that as a piece of you. It simply means to really look deeply and think about what resonates with you now. You know, what would feed your soul in a way that's not happening now? What would you do? What labels would you get rid of? What responsibilities that don't serve you anymore would you get rid of? I think for women, this is particularly challenging because one of our biggest labels is caretaker. It's just who we are. You know, it's what we do, it's how we are socialized. And we forget to take care of ourselves, not just physically, but spiritually. Taking care of ourselves by doing what feeds our soul. Understanding that we all have so many different responsibilities, but you can start doing that for 5 minutes a day. You can switch gears and do something that gives you passion for 5 minutes a day. Read a particular book that you like. Go for a walk. Go for a hike. Um, Investigate a career change. Meditate. What is it going to take for you to rethink your roles and your labels? Now, first, what you want to do is just take a look at your goals. Take a look at your goals, your career goals, your life goals that you may have had in your head since you were 20 or 18 or earlier. Do they still resonate with you? And if they don't, that's fine. How boring it would be if we didn't grow and change. When we grow and change, our goals may start to change and grow also. And that's awesome. It can be uncomfortable, but it's awesome. So you want to take a look at that with clear eyes, right? So that you can think about what really resonates for you now and start to make that happen little by little. You deserve it, right? You deserve it. Your authenticity is important, and we can't fully be authentic if we're trying to fit into 16 different types of roles and labels that we carry. So why not decide what resonates with you and try to let the other ones go? So think about where you really want to be in 5 years, where you really want to be in 2022, and start to reverse engineer that. Think about what steps you would need to take in order to make that happen. The other thing that I like to do is certainly January 1st, wahoo, it's the new year. Everybody gets excited and makes New Year's resolutions. I never do. I might set some general goals for the next year, but birthdays are such a great time. It's your day, right? It's such a great time to pause and think about the year that just passed. Think about what you've gained from it. Think about your takeaways, the knowledge, the experiences, and then think about what you want the next year to be. Think about what you want it to look like. What energy do you want it to have? What do you want to be doing? Who do you want to be interacting with? What kind of relationships do you want to have? your birthday is such a beautiful time to do this because it's your true new year, right? It's your true new year. And if you take these simple steps and just, maybe once a week, reevaluate. I'm experimenting. I'm going to go back to the mediator label that I mentioned earlier. I'm experimenting with saying no when people say, man, we're having a really hard time, and can you help? Can you talk to so and so for me, or you talk to so and so for me? Maybe you experiment with saying no when it doesn't resonate with you, because that takes energy from you, energy that you could be using to move forward and to embrace something in your own life. It's not to say, you know, screw you all, it's all about me, but you're being very selective. You must start to be selective and own your authenticity and own anything that needs to change. Own if something doesn't resonate with you anymore. You know what? I can't do this. I can't do this for you anymore. I can't be that person anymore. You know, I I have a career in conflict resolution, but it doesn't light my fire anymore. I really love numbers, and I would love to help people figure out how to plan their retirement, whatever that is. It can be something completely different than what you've been doing. Do it. Start to think about that. Start to think about it every day, and at some point, it will click, and you will start to take more action. So oh, Beth, yeah, never stop growing, learning, and evolving. That is so important. And and I think the add-on to that I would have is growing, learning, and evolving in a way that is authentic to us, as opposed to what do I need to do um, to fit into someone else's normal, right? I have to grow and evolve and learn authentically to me, not to what someone else's normal is, because we're never going to be happy if we try to do that. So, on that note, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And if you're watching this on replay and you have any questions or comments, I would love to interact with you. So, take care.